Hey everyone. You know, yeah, you see the question down below. Several years ago, I did a video where I said I was not a brony. And for a while I stood by that. But as time went on, something changed. Something changed to the point that the more people talked about this, the more it got mass appeal. The more intrigued myself and others who at first would deny being bronies or would even deny having any kind of liking to this show or being fans of the show in any way, we started to become intrigued. We wanted it's like the old saying of curiosity, curiosity got the cat, or curiosity got the best of the cat, or whatever the name is, whatever that saying is. And because of our curiosity, we checked it out in some shape or form. And through it, we started to see the appreciation. We started to see the reasoning as to why fans were why fans of all ages and genders were getting into this. I couldn't believe it was happening. I couldn't believe it was happening to me. And I was starting to slowly appreciate it. I was slowly becoming a fan. I was slowly, in a sense, becoming a brony, and I just didn't know it. And today I'm going to read you off I'm going to read you off a little bit of an article, well, not an article, but sort of a editorial I typed up to let you know exactly what I'm talking about. See, I point out that a lot of you here on YouTube and on Facebook are aware that for some time that I've been doing my fair share of collecting some MLP FIM stuff, mostly the first 3 seasons on DVD with 4 and 5 to come next. Some of the plushies, the figures, the Journal of Two Sisters books, recently as of last night a drinking cup, and the Power Ponies set that was exclusive to Target that I got through Amazon, etc. But despite all that, the one question that even someone like CFV Media 7 would ask is, am I a brony? Or why don't I just come out and admit it? And as I point out in this thing, as I point out here, first of all, my MLP FIM collection is overshadowed by my Transformers Sonic and my Transformers Sonics, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collections and other franchise collections more so than you can imagine. You'll see what the other collection I'm talking about when I post this in the description box if I can, and if not, I'll provide a link to the DeviantArt article. But even despite all that, the question still gets asked is, am I a brony? And surprisingly, this might make some people happy. This may not. But yes, in a way, perhaps I am. Even I can't believe I'm saying that. But yes, perhaps I am. But as I point out in this article, one thing you must understand is just because I might be, doesn't mean I will go out and admit it to everyone I know. Because some folks, even those watching this, will probably not understand. And I know I'm not the only one in that majority. And that reason being is because most people MLP FIM is still a franchise and animated show aimed at little girls, and that's about it. But here's the one thing that, as I was thinking about what I was going to type up here in this editorial, as I was thinking about what to type up, I realized that maybe the reason they look at it like that, the reason they look at FIM as just a franchise and a show intended for younger girls, is because they don't understand. It's because they don't understand that just like when they and us were kids in the 90s and 80s, well, mostly the 80s and somewhat the 90s, what have you, that when we watched cartoons like the G1 versions of MLP, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Gem, that the sole reason for those shows was to sell us as kids on the toys that they were based on and nothing else. But what's happened with the FIM, which is the fourth incarnation, the fourth generation of MLP, what has happened is it seems to have gone beyond that with the storylines, the characters, and the songs that have been done in such a phenomenal way that it has exceeded the original intended audience and broken down the barriers of what is a show for girls and made it a show for everyone to enjoy. So in other words, you may not you. So in other words, it's become basically a show that parents, if there's nothing else on and their kids are asleep, they can go on demand and watch an episode or so of MLP, and their kid probably wouldn't even know it because it has that massive wide appeal to it. Now, I do mention that sometimes to enjoy a franchise like FIM, sometimes you have to enjoy it in a very subtle way. For example, if you have something like Netflix, you need to add it to your list, to your queue of shows to watch. But at your time, mostly when others, who may not understand, are not around, or are busy with something else. In other words, if they're busy with something else, they're not going to disturb you. Now, there are those that, even as you listen and perhaps read this, if you read the description or click on the link, may still not understand why a franchise like this has such a wide appeal to everyone of almost every age and gender. It's because, like I pointed out earlier, they still view the franchise. They still view it as a franchise originally intended for young girls and perhaps young boys and no one else. And the reason they still view it like that is because of the proof they have to back this up. And they have two main pieces of evidence to prove their theory correctly. One, when you go into a store like a Walmart or Target or Toys R Us or where have you, where's the majority of the MLP toys located at? Well, you said the girls section in the toys area. You'd be right. You'd be right on the money. The same with the clothing. Like where would the majority of the MLP FIM clothing be? If you said the girls and maybe the women's section, you'd be right on the money as well. And that right there, as I point out, is the proof that those that don't understand will point out to and say that you shouldn't be a fan of this franchise. Because if you are, it makes you a insert inappropriate name here. And that's the thing, even right now, as I speak to you and you read this and you watch this, even those, and this is how I worded it, and I quote, "Now those that even as you read this may still not understand why a franchise like this has such a wide appeal to everyone of almost every age and gender is because, like pointed out earlier, They still view it as a franchise originally intended for young girls and perhaps boys and no one else. And that's why I also pointed out here that the proof that they have for this is, well, mostly two. One, where are the MLP FIM toys majority located at in places like Toys R Us, Target, and Walmart, etc.? And if you, watching this and reading this, said the girls section, you'd be right on the money. The same with the clothing. Where are the majority of the MLP FIM clothing merchandise located at? And if you said, again, the girls section, if not the women's section, you'd be right on the money as well. And as I point out, I also point out, as I skim through this, that this is the proof, or that is the proof, that those that don't understand will point out to and say you shouldn't be a fan of this franchise, because if you are, it makes you a blank. And this, as I point out, goes back to that question that I'm asked of, am I a brony? And as I said, perhaps I am. But like some, I'm very subtle and low-key about it. And I know I'm not the only one. I mean, why do you think some Facebook MLP FIM groups are either closed or secret? Because they know, like I mentioned here, and in this article, in this editorial, as well as on this video, some just will not understand the overall mass appeal of this franchise. But I do point this out, that next year in 2017, when the 7th season, and there's no doubt there will be a 7th season, debuts, and the movie comes out later that year, the fan base will have grown beyond 20% cooler. Yes, I did use a rainbow dash quote there, in growth. But when the movie arrives in theaters, if those that look at this show franchise is just something for young girls and perhaps boys, and will expect that kind of audience in theaters on opening weekend, better think again. Because I can almost bet that most of those opening weekend audiences will be the bronies, the Pegasisters, and overall fans of all ages and genders attending those showings, which no doubt will get massive media coverage because of that, and show that the franchise. I had some typing errors here. I missed out on some words, so I do apologize. And show that the franchise can be enjoyed by everyone, no matter who you are. So, as I said in this article, and I will say here, but in closing, let me say this. I might have become a brony, but I've become a very subtle and low-key brony, which I'm cool with. So, to answer anybody's question, yes, I've become a brony, but I'm a very subtle and low-key one. So, hopefully that answers your guys' question. Anybody that was wondering, honestly, it's nothing to be ashamed of. If you're very subtle and low-key, that's cool. Because you know why? At least you're admitting that you're a fan of something. You're a part of a group, if you will, of fans. But you're not as high-profiled as some of them are. No offense. So, just thought I'd admit that. And if anybody is watching, family, friends, well, now you know. And all I ask from my family and friends, if they are watching, Google Brony, Google and watch the Brony documentary. I think you'll get an idea of why. So, guys, take care. God bless. I'm out.